legend of the Bell Witch, the ghost that haunted the Bell family. In 1817, in Robertson County, Tennessee, the United States was still a wild land with sprawling farms scattered across endless green fields. At that time, this land carried a somber beauty, both peaceful and untamed, where dense forests and prairies stretched to the horizon, hiding the secrets and fears of the old world. In this remote place, the Bell family lived on a peaceful farm surrounded by dense forests and majestic mountains. John Bell, a kind and hard-working farmer, together with his wife and children, chose this land to build their home. They were among the first to settle this untamed territory and built a cozy house amidst vast nature, where neighbors seldom visited. In the early days, the Bell family's life passed by peacefully. They worked diligently on the expansive land, planting and raising livestock, savoring the simple joys of serene days. At that time, John Bell was regarded as a respected man, always willing to help his neighbors and frequently contributing to community events. But this peace was only a facade, as beneath the surface of this simple life lay a threat no one could have anticipated. Legend has it that, within the dark forests surrounding the farm, there lingered a restless spirit, gloomy ghost believed to be Kate Batts, an eccentric and shunned woman. It was rumored that Kate had cursed John Bell and his entire family before her death, vowing that her spirit would never leave this land until she had fulfilled her desires. Kate Batts, also known as the Bell Witch, was infamous as an odd woman who often quarreled with others. Many in the area believed she may have practiced dark arts and had connections to the otherworldly. Before her death, Kate had been embroiled in a dispute with John Bell over a piece of land. Afterward, locals recounted that she had cursed him and his family, making a malicious vow that the Bell family would never find peace. At first, people dismissed these stories as baseless rumors, idle tales that locals spun for amusement. But soon after, the Bell family began hearing strange noises at night. Initially, they assumed it was simply the sounds of wild animals around the farm, but knocking sounds and unseen footsteps gradually became clearer, more terrifying, instilling a deep sense of unease in everyone. The house, once a peaceful sanctuary for the Bell family, had now become a place filled with fear and dread. Something, or rather, someone was watching them from the shadows. This invisible presence made the entire family feel surrounded, as if they were no longer welcome on the land they had toiled so hard to build. And this was only the beginning of the Bell family's nightmare. The strange sounds echoed every night without cease, and the Bell family gradually realized this was no coincidence. Something dark was lurking in the shadows of the forest, creeping into every corner of the house, waiting to fulfill the curse that had been cast long ago. Since those initial nocturnal noises, the familiar quiet of the Bell farm seemed never to return. Each night, the eerie sounds grew clearer, more chilling, as if an invisible entity was carefully observing and probing every corner of the house. The Bell family tried to reassure themselves, insisting it was just animals in the forest, but the steady knocking, resonating throughout the house, seemed to defy every reassurance they offered. One night, as the family lay asleep, John Bell suddenly awoke to a strange sound. A steady knocking echoed from outside his bedroom window. At first, he thought it might be the sound of a dry branch blowing against the glass. But when he looked outside, all he could see was dense darkness and an eerie silence. He listened carefully, trying to catch every faint sound, but everything returned to stillness. Relieved, John took a deep breath, lay back down, and thought it was merely his imagination. At the break of dawn, Betsy Bell, John's youngest daughter, was the first to notice the strange footprints outside her bedroom window. They were small, childlike prints, but unnervingly regular, etched deeply into the soil. They seemed to belong to a child, but formed a single, straight line stretching from the forest right up to her window. A chill ran down her spine, and she quickly called her parents to come see. The Bell family observed the footprints with growing unease. However, rather than make a big deal of it, John tried to calm everyone down, insisting it was merely a prank by a local child. They cleaned up the prints, trying to put the unsettling discovery out of their minds. Only a few nights later, the frightening signs began to appear more unmistakably. Each member of the Bell family started to feel that something unusual was lurking within their home. They each began hearing faint whispers at night, a soft voice, seemingly female, echoing from somewhere within the house, like a breeze threading through every corner. Lucy Bell, John's wife, was the first to truly notice this. Initially, she assumed it was just the sound of insects or the wind whistling through cracks. But gradually, the whispers became clearer. She listened closely and could hear a woman's voice floating through the night, whispering unclear words, sometimes near, sometimes far, as if the voice was drifting through the air. Lucy decided to confide in John about what she had been hearing, and to her surprise, he admitted that he, too, had heard similar sounds. Both began to realize that their home was no longer the safe haven it once was. The darkness was slowly becoming a terrifying presence that haunted the Bell family. Each night brought a deeper sense of dread, as if the shadows were creeping closer, tightening their grip on the household. The once cozy home, nestled amidst the serene wilderness, had transformed into a place of looming terror, where every shadow seemed alive with intent and every corner whispered of lurking danger. After the whispers, things started to escalate. One night, as Betsy Bell slept, she awoke abruptly to the sensation of someone gently touching her hair. She felt as if someone was tugging softly at strands of her hair, almost playfully. Terrified, she screamed, and her family rushed in. But when they arrived, they found only Betsy, pale with fear, alone in her room. These invisible touches began to happen more frequently. Each time, Betsy felt an icy chill, as though the unseen hand carried an aura of malice and hostility. Though her family tried to reassure her, a mounting fear settled within each of them, a fear they couldn't ignore. No one in the family could explain what was happening, but there was something undeniable, a presence they couldn't see, yet one they could feel growing stronger and closer each passing night. It wasn't just the knocking, the whispers, or the invisible touches anymore. The disturbances escalated. Occasionally, while the family was having dinner, loud crashes would erupt from the adjacent room, as if someone were furiously smashing things. Yet when they rushed in, everything was intact, with no sign of any disturbance. At this point, the Bell family could no longer ignore these terrifying events. They began reaching out to friends and neighbors, hoping to find a reasonable explanation, but no one could make sense of what was happening. Speculations began to arise, with some suggesting the farm was haunted, while others wondered if someone might be playing tricks on the family. But the strange occurrences continued, and with each passing day, the sense of dread weighed heavier in the Bell household. In the dark Tennessee countryside, the whispers of a wandering spirit seemed to echo like a warning of the nightmare the family was about to face. Now, there was no doubt in their minds. Something not of this world had set its sights on them, creeping into the darkest corners of their lives, waiting to consume them in its shadowy grasp. After living in constant unease and fear for so long, the Bell family felt as though they had lost control over their lives. The strange phenomena grew stronger, far beyond just sounds and gentle touches, An invisible, terrifying presence relentlessly attacked their spirits, making their lives more strained than ever. Each night, Betsy Bell, the youngest in the family, sensed this presence most acutely. The hair pulling, the whispered voices close to her ears had become unsettlingly familiar. But now, things had escalated far beyond that. Betsy began to see strange images in the darkness. Sometimes, it was the shadow of a woman lurking in the corner of her room. At other times, a pair of glowing eyes stared at her through the window. At first, Betsy thought she was imagining things, but with each passing night, the figures grew clearer, bringing with them a chilling sense of dread. Sometimes, it was the shadow of a woman lurking in the corner of her room. At other times, a pair of glowing eyes stared at her through the window. At first, Betsy thought she was imagining things, but with each passing night, the figures grew clearer, bringing with them a chilling sense of dread. It wasn't just Betsy anymore. The entire family began experiencing inexplicable events. Lucy Bell, Betsy's mother, started hearing strange whispers growing louder, as if the voice was attempting to communicate with her. Sometimes she felt as though someone was watching her from the dark corners of the house. Lucy had always been a courageous mother, but now she couldn't hide her concern for her family. Whenever the family gathered in the living room, they would often hear the sound of footsteps echoing from empty rooms, as if someone were pacing through the house. The heavy, deliberate footsteps seemed to emphasize its presence within their home. Though they saw nothing, the sounds repeated with unsettling regularity, filling the house with a tense, oppressive atmosphere that weighed on everyone's spirits. Then one night, the voice spoke clear and articulate, as if delivering an unmistakable message to the Bell family. In the silent darkness, a woman's voice rang out, declaring that she would never allow the Bell family peace. She proclaimed she had come to fulfill a mission, a promise made long ago, and she would not stop until she achieved her goal. John Bell felt an intense chill and an overwhelming sense of dread. He had repeatedly sought the help of local churches, asking priests to pray and perform cleansing rituals within the house. But all his efforts seemed powerless against this strange presence. In fact, the more they tried to dispel it, the more terrifying the phenomenon became, as if the entity were growing angrier with each human attempt to interfere. John Bell, once the family's pillar of strength, now felt his health inexplicably deteriorating. He often experienced fatigue and exhaustion for no apparent reason. Local doctors were unable to explain his condition, but John knew that the strange presence in their home seemed to be affecting him more each day, both mentally and physically. With each passing night, he felt weaker, as if his energy was being drained bit by bit. Lucy and the children watched John's decline with growing concern, but there was nothing they could do to help him. They knew that something not of this world was creeping into every corner of their lives. That invisible presence, the soft, chilling laughter of the Bell Witch, in the darkness, and the oppressive feeling that blanketed their home left them feeling hopeless. The climax came one night as Betsy drifted into sleep. She suddenly felt an indescribable chill, a sensation that seeped into her very core. In the darkness, she saw a faint image of a woman standing in the corner of her room, her eyes glowing coldly, fixed intently on Betsy. Betsy screamed, and her family rushed into her room, each feeling the same indescribable presence lingering there. They searched through the darkness, but all they found was an empty void and an overwhelming surge of fear. From that night on, the Bell family never had a peaceful night again. Strange phenomena continued to engulf the house, creating an unending nightmare. Despite their prayers and attempts to enlist paranormal investigators, all efforts proved hopeless. The Bell Witch remained, patiently waiting for something, as if fulfilling an uncompleted promise, a purpose yet unfinished. The supernatural occurrences were no longer confined to the Bell family home. They gradually spread throughout the area. Friends, neighbors, and relatives visiting the Bells began experiencing terrifying events, as if the Bell Witch was expanding her influence across the farm and surrounding region. One evening, the Bells invited a close friend, James Johnston, over to pray. James, a man of strong faith, who often assisted friends in times of trouble, came willingly. But on his very first night, as he and the family prayed, strange events began to unfold. Just as the candle extinguished, a sudden cold breeze swept through the room, followed by loud knocking on walls, as if someone were angrily pounding on each brick. James tried to remain calm, continuing to pray, but then felt an invisible hand touch his shoulder. The sensation was so vivid that he shuddered, feeling as though something entirely unnatural was watching him. As the night wore on, whispers returned, this time with clearer, taunting words. A voice, dripping with sarcasm and defiance, echoed in his ear. I will remain here forever, and you will never drive me away. After that night, James quickly left the Bell household and shared his harrowing experience with others in the area. Rumors about the Bell Witch spread rapidly, sparking the curiosity of many. People from the region began visiting the Bell House, hoping to witness the mysterious supernatural occurrences for themselves. But the more visitors arrived, the more intense the Bell Witch's manifestations became, as if she relished performing for an audience. Some neighbors even reported hearing strange noises coming from the Bell family farm as they passed by at night. Others claimed to see shadowy figures lurking in the woods, or felt an icy chill just standing in the house. Chilling laughter and eerie whispers continued to echo on quiet nights, as though the Bell Witch was silently observing and toying with those who dared to investigate her presence. As the rumors continued to spread, the Bell family members found themselves under unbearable stress. Lucy Bell, the gentle mother, tried her best to remain strong and protect her family. However, she too felt the weight of the Bell Witch's presence. Often, she would sit silently, her eyes full of worry and her heart heavy. Each night, she prayed for her children's safety, hoping for a miracle to deliver them from their ordeal. Betsy Bell, the youngest daughter, bore the heaviest burden. Sleepless nights left her exhausted, and her mind seemed to be in a constant state of tension. Betsy not only felt the presence of the Bell Witch, but sometimes even heard her voice whispering inside her mind-haunting words that filled her with endless fear. In those moments, Betsy felt as if she were losing herself, as though a part of her was being controlled by the Bell Witch. The entire family began experiencing strange and terrifying dreams. Each night, they were drawn into recurring nightmares. Darkness engulfed them. A woman with piercing eyes stood silently in the shadows, staring intently, and endless laughter echoed around them. Some nights, every family member shared the exact same dream, seeing the Bell Witch sitting on their bed, mocking them and pointing out their deepest fears. These dreams slowly drained their spirits, making them feel trapped in an inescapable darkness. The long nights were filled with an ever-present terror, and the Bell family knew that no matter where they went, the Bell Witch would follow, infiltrating every corner of their minds. In the end, the presence of the Bell Witch became so intense that no one in the Bell family could ignore it. Every time they attempted rituals to drive her away, such as burning herbs or reciting prayers, the Bell Witch seemed to grow more aggressive, responding with louder noises and an even stronger presence. The house was constantly shrouded in an oppressive atmosphere, making it impossible for anyone to focus on their daily tasks. Sometimes, as the family ate dinner, dishes would suddenly fall to the ground or even levitate, as though an invisible hand were toying with them. Candles would extinguish without anyone touching them, plunging the room into a darkness that felt like a heavy blanket. The Bells no longer doubted that the Bell Witch was asserting her control over the house and everyone in it. With each passing day, the Bell family seemed to lose more hope of ever finding peace again. They no longer doubted that the Bell Witch was not merely an invisible entity haunting their home, but a dark will with the power to communicate, manipulate, and instill fear with deliberate intent. In the shadows of their home, the Bell Witch began delivering clear messages, asserting her absolute control. One quiet night, the Bell family gathered in the living room, attempting to comfort each other in their shared unease. Suddenly, a voice echoed from the empty space around them, filling every corner of the room. It was a woman's voice, hoarse and ominous, reverberating as if from another realm. The voice spoke, clear and commanding. "I am not here to be driven away. I have a promise to fulfill, a mission unfinished." The Bells listened in horror, their hearts pounding. The Bell Witch continued, speaking of things no one could understand. She mentioned an impending change, an event that would push the family to experience something beyond imagination. She spoke cryptically of an inevitable fate, and that no matter what the family did, they would not escape her influence. The Bell Witch's prophecy cast a heavy shadow over the house, a foreboding of trials and hardships ahead that no one could avoid. After leaving her dark prophecies, the Bell Witch began a series of events aimed directly at each family member's psyche. Betsy Bell was the most affected. At times, she could hear the Bell Witch's voice echoing in her mind, whispering strange things and threatening to stay with her forever. Betsy felt as though she was losing herself, unable to control the constant anxiety, restlessness, and overwhelming fear. John Bell was not spared from these threats either. He grew more exhausted by the day. His health declined, and a sense of heaviness weighed on his spirit. Despite his efforts to reassure the family, the Bell Witch reminded him that none of them could escape her presence. Sometimes, the Bell Witch would engage in brief conversations, directly answering questions posed by family members. When anyone in the house accidentally asked a question aloud in the dark, her voice would immediately respond, answering with sarcasm and challenge. This left the Bell family even more unsettled, as the Bell Witch wasn't just an invisible entity, but a malicious personality, acutely aware of their emotions and thoughts. One night, in a moment of fearful desperation, Lucy Bell asked, "Why are you here?" The witch's voice responded, as if she'd been waiting for this question all along. "I am here for a promise unfulfilled, and because your existence keeps me from leaving." This cryptic and chilling answer left Lucy utterly bewildered, unable to understand why the Bell Witch had targeted her family. But no matter how much she worried, she couldn't find any explanation for the haunting that gripped their lives. Despite the relentless psychological pressure from the Bell Witch, the Bell family resolved not to be defeated, isolated. John Bell worked to strengthen the family's spirit, reminding everyone that they were still united and not let the Bell Witch tear them apart. They decided to hold regular family prayer sessions, asking for peace and hoping to find a way out of their ordeal. During these prayer gatherings, the Bell Witch would often disrupt them by making loud noises or blowing up the candles, but the bells persisted. These prayers became their spiritual anchor, helping them stand firm against the witch's harassment. The bell which did not relent. Each night, her voice echoed warnings, as if determined to make the Bell family understand the inevitability of what was to come. Her voice insisted that they would never be able to drive her away, that the house and land would forever belong to her, she declared. You cannot escape. I will remain here, and I will be here forever, until I achieve what I desire. These words became a curse, echoing endlessly through the Bell family home, sowing deep, unending fear. Exhausted and weary, the Bell family realized that the Bell Witch would never cease until she achieved her purpose. Her presence gradually became a dark shadow engulfing the Bell family's lives, and they understood that no matter what they did, they could not escape her influence. The inescapable threat cast them into an endless cycle of anxiety and fear with no way out. Since the Bell Witch began communicating and issuing warnings, John Bell's health declined alarmingly. Once a strong man and the pillar of the family, John now seemed utterly drained of energy. Persistent fatigue and dull, aching pain left him devoid of vitality, and no one in the family could explain his condition. Despite trying to continue his daily work, John increasingly felt as though an invisible force was sapping his strength. Even with rest, his body did not recover. The Bell family began to realize that this was not a normal health issue. Something supernatural was weighing on John, like a binding force that no one could lift. Lucy Bell, his devoted wife, tried everything to help him recover, from medicine to traditional remedies. Yet, despite her efforts, John's condition remained unchanged. Lucy, too, grew weary under the constant worry and pressure. She recognized that, with the Bell Witch's presence in their home, peace was something they could no longer hold on to. In a final effort to save John's health, the Bell family sought out those experienced with supernatural and spiritual phenomena, hoping someone could offer advice on how to deal with the Bell Witch. Hearing of the family's plight, several people in the area also volunteered their help, offering various suggestions from performing cleansing rituals to special forms of prayer. Local priests visited the Bell home, conducting prayer ceremonies, hoping their pleas might dispel the oppressive presence in the house. However, the Bell Witch seemed unaffected. Instead, she appeared to grow stronger. She created loud noises and mocking laughter during these rituals, as if to emphasize that no one could stop her. As John's health continued to decline, the Bell home knew no peace. Strange occurrences persisted relentlessly. At night, noises echoed from every corner, pounding knocks on doors, footsteps, and sometimes the chilling sound of laughter resonating from nowhere. Each family member harbored deep fear, yet they couldn't leave, bound by their love and attachment to the home. Betsy Bell continued to be tormented by haunting dreams and unsettling sensations. She felt trapped in a dark reality with no escape. Each night, she saw the figure of a woman with piercing eyes lurking in the corner of her room. And no matter how hard she tried to dispel it, that image continued to haunt her. Lucy Bell, always resilient, began to feel helpless. She watched her husband's health deteriorate daily, but had no way to help him escape this condition. The entire family felt imprisoned in a world devoid of hope, where every effort seemed futile against the Bell Witch's overpowering presence. One night, in the stifling darkness, the voice of the Bell Witch echoed once more, this time as a final promise. Her voice was clear and powerful, emphasizing each word as an unchangeable declaration. I will not leave until everything here is mine. This house, this land, all of it will be mine forever. These words solidified the Bell Witch's eternal presence. The Bell family understood that she had no intention of leaving, and no amount of pleading or outside help would change her resolve. A sense of hopelessness settled over the home, and the Bells realized that no matter what they did, they would forever live under the shadow of the Bell Witch. The Bell family had no choice but to accept the reality that the Bell Witch would not leave. Each member from John to Betsy and Lucy carried a heavy sense of exhaustion and sadness. They didn't know how to escape this existence, and the only option left was to try to coexist with it. In the final hours of the night, they would gather together, sharing cherished memories to ease their fear. They hoped that, even with the Bell Witch's presence, their love and family bond would help them keep their spirits strong and endure whatever challenges she set before them. The Bell family home was no longer the peaceful place they once knew, but had become a place full of strange memories and eerie stories. It was a place where the Bell Witch would forever be remembered, an inseparable part of their lives. After all the strange events and prolonged fear, the Bell family finally left the farm. They hoped that distance and time would free them from the Bell Witch's haunting and allow them to reclaim a peaceful life. Although they no longer lived in that house, the memories of endless disturbed nights, chilling whispers, and looming shadows remained etched in their minds. The townspeople remembered well the story of the Bell Witch, the Bell family, and the strange happenings in their home. Even after the family moved away, their house and farm remained, standing as silent witnesses to the paranormal events that had haunted them. From then on, no one dared to approach the house at night, and the legend of the Bell Witch continued to grow. Years after the Bell family left, a few curious and brave souls visited the farm, hoping to witness the power of the Bell Witch firsthand. Some paranormal researchers, intrigued by the Bell family's story, tested their courage by spending a night in the house. Those who stayed overnight recounted unforgettable experiences. Some reported hearing mocking whispers in the dark, as if the Bell Witch still lingered there, watching their every move. Others felt a chilling breeze pass by as they stood near the window, as though an invisible figure was observing them. Everyone described an overwhelming sense of being watched, and though nothing visible appeared, the Bell Witch's presence felt unmistakably chilling. Over time, the story of the Bell Witch became more than a memory for the people of Tennessee. It became an essential part of local culture. Children in the area grew up with tales of the Bell Witch, and each Halloween, townsfolk retold her story as a chilling legend, reminding everyone of the unexplained and the mysteries of the supernatural world. The legend holds that the Bell Witch will never truly leave the Bell family's home or land. Some say she has become a part of that land of presence, in the shadows around the house and the twisted trees in the nearby woods. Those brave enough to approach at night report hearing soft footsteps, the whisper of the wind, or even the eerie laughter of a mysterious woman echoing from afar. Locals often warn outsiders that the Bell Witch is a spirit forever bound to this land, and anyone with intentions of disturbing the house or farm should proceed with extreme caution. Rumor has it that anyone who dares to mock or challenge the Bell, which will undoubtedly feel her presence in the most unsettling ways. The story of the Bell Witch serves as a reminder to all who hear it that sometimes there are things that do not belong to this world, and not everyone is strong enough to confront them. The Bell family home and the surrounding land have now become symbols of a haunting legend, a place that only the bravest dare to enter, facing mysteries with no answers. Though the Bell family has long since left, people say the Bell Witch never truly disappeared. She remains there, silent and patient, lurking in the shadows of the house and in the cold winds that sweep through the forest. Today, the Bell family home stands alone, shrouded in an eerie, oppressive silence, as if the Bell Witch is quietly reminding everyone that she is still there, never having left. The story may end, but the fear and mystery brought by the bell which live on in the hearts of Tennessee's people, in dark nights and endless dreams of a place no one dares to enter. And each time someone passes by the old bell house, the story is told once more, spreading like a mysterious wind, a reminder that some mysteries are best left undisturbed. As time passed, the story of the Bell Witch was no longer a secret kept by the Bell family or the people of Tennessee. This legend gradually spread, attracting the attention of curious onlookers, paranormal researchers, and mystery enthusiasts. Although the Bell family left long ago, their old house still stands, silent and shadowed amidst the wild landscape, a symbol of unsolved mystery. Over the years, numerous investigative teams and paranormal researchers have visited the Bell family home, hoping to shed light on the story of the Bell Witch. Equipped with advanced tools like infrared cameras, ultra-sensitive recorders, and various measuring devices, they sought concrete evidence of this mysterious spirit's existence. Yet each time they departed, they left only with fascinating stories, vague evidence, and personal experiences that defied explanation. Those brave enough to stay in the house overnight report that the atmosphere there is unlike any other place they've visited. A cold, heavy feeling pervades the space, and anyone who steps inside feels as though an invisible pair of eyes is watching them from the shadows. Some visitors have reported hearing soft whispers or the creaking sound of footsteps on the old wooden floor, even though the house has been empty for years. Others feel the sensation of an invisible hand gently touching their shoulder or neck, sending a shiver down their spine as they struggle to understand what just happened. Recording devices frequently capture mysterious sounds, sometimes rhythmic knocks or faint, barely audible whispers that are enough to stir fear. Many say that when inside the house, their electronic devices, often malfunctioned candles, suddenly shut off, phone batteries drain quickly, or audio recorders become filled with static. Experts have examined the site but have found no scientific explanation for these occurrences, making visitors' experiences increasingly mysterious and unsettling. The people of Tennessee keep the story of the Bell Witch alive, especially around Halloween, when the legend becomes a staple of late-night storytelling around bonfires. Rumor has it that the Bell Witch will make her presence known to anyone who dares mock or challenge her. Locals say that whenever they approach the area around the old house or the nearby woods, they feel something strange in the areas, though the bell, which is still there, always watching, always waiting. Some of the elders in the area even claim that if someone is brave enough to enter the house at midnight and call her name 3 times, they'll hear a whispering response from the void. Though the old house stands empty and weathered, strange phenomena continue to this day. Visitors and locals often hear an eerie howling wind coming from the house, even on windless nights. Sometimes, at night, strange lights flicker through the darkened windows, as if someone inside were moving with a candle or lantern, despite the house being long abandoned. Some believe that the Bell Witch has no intention of causing harm, but simply wants to protect her home and land. Others think she's waiting for a specific event or person, and that when this occurs, she will fulfill her final prophecy. The Bell family home has become a symbol of unanswered mysteries, a chilling legacy that endures with time. Beyond just the story of the Bell Witch, the house stands as a testament to fear, to mystery, and to things that humanity has yet to fully understand. The tale of the bell, which has become a lasting legend, reminding everyone that sometimes there are things in the dark best left undisturbed, and that some spirits never leave, they remain, silent and waiting in the shadows, an endless mystery. 1970, Donna, a nursing student in Connecticut, received an unexpected birthday gift from her mother, a Raggedy Ann doll, with its round face, big black eyes, red hair, and cute dress. The doll quickly became a decoration in Donna's small apartment. Donna lived with her best friend, Angie, who was also a nursing student. Both spent most of their time working and studying at the hospital, where they witnessed many harsh realities. But whenever they returned to the apartment, they felt relaxed and at peace. However, what they didn't know was that Donna's mother's gift would forever change their lives. At first, Donna and Angie saw the doll as a cute decoration. Donna placed it on her bed, and occasionally they would talk about it, reminiscing about childhood memories of playing with adorable rag dolls. But after just a few weeks, the two girls began to notice something strange. The doll started moving on its own, appearing in different places around the apartment. Donna would leave it on her bed, but upon returning, she would find the doll on the sofa or sitting in the kitchen. At first, they thought that one of them had accidentally moved it, but after this happened repeatedly, both Donna and Angie began to feel uneasy. One night, after a late shift at the hospital, Donna came home and found the doll sitting on a chair in the living room, facing the door as if it had been waiting for her. She shuddered, feeling as if someone had deliberately placed it there to frighten her. Donna tried to dismiss the fear and reassured herself, thinking that maybe Angie had moved it as a joke. But when she asked, her roommate firmly denied touching the doll. Day by day, Donna and Angie increasingly felt a sinister presence in their apartment. It wasn't just the doll moving around. They also began to hear strange sounds at night, like light footsteps on the floor and faint knocking noises. One time, while sleeping, Angie felt someone gently tugging on her blanket. She opened her eyes and saw the doll lying right next to her bed, its big black eyes staring straight at her. Terrified, she screamed and called for Donna. When Donna rushed in, neither of them could explain how the doll had gotten there. A few days later, the two girls began finding strange notes appearing around the apartment. On these pieces of paper, in crude handwriting, with just two simple words, "Help me." The notes appeared not only in the living room, but throughout other rooms in the apartment as well, and neither of them could explain how they got there. Donna and Angie felt as if someone or some force was trying to get their attention. They checked the windows and doors for any signs of a break-in, but everything was securely locked. It wasn't just the notes. The doll began to move more frequently and take on more unusual positions. One day, Donna and Angie returned home to find the doll standing upright, leaning against the wall of the bedroom. Both felt terrified and anxious, thinking that someone might actually be entering the apartment and moving the doll to frighten them. But when the police were called to investigate, they found no signs of a break-in. One evening, after a late night at work, Donna walked into her room and saw a horrifying sight. The doll's hands were stained with dark red streaks, resembling blood. Drops of blood had dripped onto the doll's dress and soaked into the floor. Donna was shocked and immediately called Angie to witness it. Both stood there, stunned and unable to believe their eyes, with no explanation as to the source of the blood. Overwhelmed with fear, Donna and Angie decided to consult a psychic to shed light on these bizarre events. The psychic agreed to hold A in their apartment. During the psychic revealed that the spirit inhabiting the doll was that of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins. Annabelle had lived in this area and passed away at a very young age. According to the psychic, Annabelle's spirit only wanted a place to stay and felt connected to Donna and Angie. Touched by the story of a lonely spirit, the two girls decided to allow Annabelle to stay. But shortly after, they realized this was a terrible mistake. Ever since Donna and Angie accepted Annabelle, the strange occurrences in the apartment grew even more intense. The doll didn't just move on its own, but seemed to shift positions right before their eyes. Every night, they felt as though someone was watching them from within the shadows, and the strange noises continued without end. One time, when Donna was alone in her room, she felt as though someone was standing directly behind her. She turned around, but no one was there. However, when she looked into the mirror, she saw the doll sitting on her bed, its big, round, black eyes staring directly at her through the reflection. Donna couldn't contain her fear, feeling as if Annabelle's spirit was trying to get closer to her. When the situation became unbearable, Donna and Angie decided to seek help from the famous paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren. After hearing their story, Ed and Lorraine immediately realized that this was not the spirit of an innocent young girl. According to Lorraine, the Annabelle doll was a conduit, a vessel for a malevolent entity pretending to be a child's spirit to exploit human compassion, with the aim of ultimately possessing Donna's soul. The Warrens decided to perform a cleansing ritual in the apartment and take Annabelle to their museum. Lorraine sensed that without containment measures, Annabelle could have severe consequences. To ensure safety, the Warrens sealed the doll in a special glass case with protective rituals, preventing the malevolent spirit from escaping. Even though it was carefully sealed, Annabelle continued to emit a dark energy, making many people feel a chilling sensation when standing near the glass case. Museum staff reported that they occasionally heard soft tapping sounds from inside the case, and at times they felt as though someone was watching them. Some visitors to the museum ignored the warnings and touched the glass case. Afterwards, several of them experienced strange accidents or unusual events, as a reminder that Annabelle's power remained frighteningly intact. Today, the Annabelle doll is still kept in its glass case, one of the most famous artifacts at the Warren Occult Museum. The story of Annabelle quickly became a chilling legend, warning people of the dangers of interacting with unknown entities. Paranormal experts and curious visitors alike continue to flock to the museum to see Annabelle, but no one dares to underestimate the power of the DOL. The story of Annabelle is one of the most famous tales of the supernatural, reminding people that not all spirits are trustworthy. Forces in the darkness still exist, and Annabelle is clear proof that some mysteries should be respected and kept at a safe distance. Eastern State Penitentiary, located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is one of the scariest and most famous prisons in the United States. Built in 1829, it is not only an architectural landmark, but also a place that once held many notorious criminals. The prison is believed to carry the lingering spirits of those who endured painful and harsh health. Eastern State Penitentiary was designed in a radial architecture, with cell blocks arranged around a central watchtower, creating hallways that radiate outward like the spokes of a fan. This layout allowed guards to stand at the center and observe all the cells. But more importantly, it created an environment of complete isolation for the prisoners. The prison was built on the idea that, if inmates were kept in total isolation, they would have time to reflect on their wrongdoings and, as a result, become reformed. However, reality turned out to be far from this ideal. The complete isolation led to severe mental deterioration, with many prisoners descending into madness and hopelessness, turning the prison into a living hell. The Eastern State Penitentiary once housed some of the most notorious criminals in American history, including Al Capone, the infamous gangster of the Prohibition era, known by the nickname Scarface. In 1929, Al Capone was held here for 8 months on charges of possessing illegal weapons. Unlike other prisoners, Capone enjoyed certain privileges, such as having a private cell decorated with luxurious furnishings. However, he did not have peaceful days here. Many accounts record that within this prison, Capone frequently suffered from vivid nightmares, often claiming he heard the voice of Jimmy Clarker, victim of the St. Valentine's Day massacre, returning to seek revenge. His sleepless nights and terrified screams only added to the eerie and foreboding atmosphere of the prison. Not only Capone, but many other inmates also endured horrific punishments at Eastern State. One infamous punishment was the ice water bath. Prisoners were tightly bound and drenched in cold water, then left outside in the freezing winter air, causing their bodies to slowly freeze. Another punishment, known as the mad chair, involved strapping inmates so tightly that they could not move for days, which led to their gradual physical and mental deterioration. These forms of torture left many prisoners traumatized and mentally broken, and several did not survive the harsh conditions. After the prison closed in 1971, Eastern State Penitentiary quickly became a focal point for ghost stories and attracted paranormal researchers. Many believe that, given the pain and despair endured by prisoners within these walls, their souls remain trapped within the gloomy structure. Visitors, staff, and researchers who have visited the site often recount chilling experiences. One of the most popular areas is Cell Block 12. Numerous people have reported strange occurrences there, including mysterious footsteps, whispering voices echoing from nowhere, and shadowy figures darting between cell doors. People frequently see hazy apparitions moving from one cell to another, and some even feel as though someone is watching them from a distance. Many leave Cell Block 12 with an eerie sensation of being followed by a chilling breeze. Cell Block 4 is also one of the most haunted spots, where visitors and staff frequently report seeing a dark, shadowy figure drifting down the hallway. This shadow has no clear form, but when it appears, everyone feels an overwhelming sense that something is wrong, as if a malevolent force is looming over the area. Those brave enough to enter Cell Block often leave with an inexplicable feeling of anxiety and unease. One of the most chilling stories at Eastern State Penitentiary comes from Cell Block 6, where mysterious faces have often been seen lurking behind the bars. Visitors recount that as they pass by the cells, they can sometimes see a pair of eyes staring intently at them. These eyes do not move, but give off a feeling of terror and cold. It feels as if the souls of former prisoners remain trapped here, unable to escape. It's not just the mysterious faces. Many visitors also report feeling an uncanny presence while walking through Cell Block 6. They describe a sensation as if someone is standing behind them, watching every step, and at times they feel a light touch on their shoulder or neck, sending a chill down their spine. Those who have experienced this often believe these encounters are the restless spirits of prisoners who died in agony and despair. Each year, around Halloween, Eastern State Penitentiary opens its doors for the Terror Behind the Walls event, a terrifying experience that attracts thousands of visitors. During this event, the prison is transformed into a haunted destination, complete with eerie sound effects, lighting, and actors dressed as ghosts and prisoners. Visitors can walk through various areas designed to mimic scenes from the prison's dark past, such as cell blocks, torture rooms, and shadowy corridors. Many people who attend Terror Behind the Walls leave with unforgettable experiences. not just because of the spooky decorations and atmosphere, but because they feel something truly frightening is lurking in the shadows. Some guests report feeling as if they're being watched, while others even claim to have felt a light touch from an invisible hand. Event staff occasionally experience strange phenomena too, like flickering lights, whispers from unknown sources, and even shadowy figures that seem to appear and disappear. Today, Eastern State Penitentiary is no longer an active prison, but it remains a symbol of the dark days and tragedies of the souls once confined within its walls. Paranormal researchers, curious visitors, and history enthusiasts frequently visit to explore, experience, and feel the remnants of the past. Stories of shadowy figures, footsteps, whispers, and terrifying screams continue to circulate, adding to the legend of one of America's most haunted prisons. Eastern State Penitentiary is one of the world's most famous locations for paranormal activity, a place that serves as a reminder that the past doesn't easily fade away. The restless souls of prisoners, those who endured torture, pain, and despair within these cold walls, seem to linger, waiting and never truly leaving.